Well, hello, and welcome to Dorman's Garage. Today we're going to be taking a look at my 2007 Mini Cooper. I actually got a check engine code recently, since I got the car, and I'm trying to resolve it. It's something that comes on and off, so it's not on there all the time. I've reset it, and after, a couple days, it'll come back. It's the code P0977, so we're going to be taking a look at that today. All right, so the P0977, when I looked the code up, it's a shift solenoid B high circuit. So it's either something that's electrical or something that is wrong with the solenoid. So this particular model, this is a 2007 base model, but I think a lot of these Mini Coopers have the same solenoid, and there's two of them in these cars. This is an automatic transmission. In the manual, I think it's a little bit different. But for this, I'm going to go and show you what I did to resolve it. Obviously, hopefully, if you're having the same issue, this might be the same thing that's going on with yours. But if not, I'll give you some different options, and we'll see how that goes. All right, so if you're looking at the engine here, the solenoid is right here. There's two of them. This one has a bolt. There, you can see it right down there. If you need to remove that, there's a bolt right on the bottom underneath it. And you would just have to remove that. And then from there, you can pull this whole piece out. So this whole piece comes out. That's the solenoid. And then there's a connector here. The other solenoid is right down here. You can see it right here. So that's the other one. You would have to remove this in order to get access to that. And same thing, it's got one clip right there that connects to it. So those are your two. Now, from my experience, I believe this one to be B, but I'm not 100% sure. That's because the code that I got was B, and the way that I resolved it was doing something with this. Okay, so in my case, when you pour oil in here, I guess over the years, people that poured oil, it kind of runs. If you spill it, once you take this cover off, it runs down and it collects here, and it kind of comes down from here, and it goes right onto that part. So in my case, it sounded like it was something wrong with the electricals, the voltage. So what I ended up doing is I sprayed a degreaser. I disconnected this. You just, you can get a pick and pull this little tab up, and this whole thing slides out. And what I did is I ended up taking just some degreaser, like keeping a bottle. I sprayed it down, I cleaned it off with a brush as much as I could. And then after that, what I ended up doing on the connectors on the inside with a little pick, I used actually this right here. With a little pick, what I ended up doing was taking some dielectric grease, which is here. This is electrical grease. And also, instead of degreaser, you can actually use a cleaner that's made for electrical. But I ended up using some of this dielectric grease, put it on the tip of that little tool, the poker, and then I ended up putting that grease inside of the connectors. Once I cleaned it a little bit with a rag, I ended up using that pick there in order to get some of that grease inside where the connectors were. And once I did that, then you can tell it's a lot cleaner than it used to be. There was grease just caked on, and oil was just caked onto it. So you can see a little bit of the residue from the oil that had kind of leaked there. So to me, it's been almost a week now, and the code hasn't come back. So I'm guessing that's what it was. So the first thing I would try to do is to troubleshoot would be to go ahead and clean these connectors. Like I said, this, you can get a pick tool underneath that tab there, pull it up, and the whole thing can be pulled out. Same thing with the other one. I haven't touched the other one because this one seemed to resolve it. But in case that there is something wrong with one of the solenoids, one of the other things that you can actually do is, these are interchangeable as far as I know, and I'll put a link in the description for this part. But you can remove that. It just pops right out. and you can swap it with the other one. And what happens is when you swap it, and it gives you a different code, instead of B, I'm guessing it'll say A, then, you know, most likely one of these is bad. And that way you can pick up another one, plug it into one, and if you know, if the code doesn't come back, then that's the correct one. If it does come back, then it's the other one that was bad. And that way you can go ahead and troubleshoot that. All right, so hopefully that's something that helped you out. You know, this code has to do with transmission. I didn't have any, you know, drivability issues or any loss of power or anything. You know, the car drove normally. I just kept getting this check engine light that I would reset and it would come back. Once I cleaned that connector out, it's been over a week now and it hasn't come back yet. And I think that's really what it was, because the code was telling me, you know, the high voltage, I believe, or, you know, there's something to do with the circuit, you know, something electrical. So I'm guessing there was just bad contacts because of all the grease, you know, the oil that was on there, and maybe just disconnecting it and connecting it back in, you know. But I put the dielectric grease inside of the, you know, where the pins are in the terminal. With a pick, I also, with a rag and with a cotton, you know, shirt, you know, I stuck that in there and I was able to clean it out as much as I could with that little pick tool, just to make sure all the contacts were clean. And then from there, I didn't take the solenoid out at all. So, you know, so hopefully, I mean, they can get expensive. I think they're like $100 something. But in my case so far, once I did that, I haven't had that issue again. And, but either way, if you do have that code, then at least now, you know, with the video, you'll be able to know where the solenoid is, what they are. There's two of them, one on either side. They're on there with pressure. They have like little O seals, so you can just pull them out and put the mag in. So if this doesn't work, the cleaning doesn't work, then you can try swapping them out, and that'll give you the process of elimination, because if you get a code again, then you'll know that one of these things is bad. In order to do that, you can just get the over-the-counter, you know, OBD2 scanners, or you can go to your local auto parts store. They'll scan it and you know, get that code for you. But most likely, if you're watching this video, you've already gotten that code and you're just trying to figure out exactly what it is. But in my case, that's what it was. It's that little electrical connector that was, I'm guessing, dirty and there was a bad contact. So far it's worked. For some reason, if it comes back, I'll update you all, which means one of the solenoids is probably bad. I don't think so. Those things usually don't go bad as often. But it's, you know, unless that code comes back, then most likely that's what it was. So hopefully it's something simple. It didn't cost me anything other than the dielectric grease, you know, and it's good to have on hand whenever you're working with any of the electrical connectors. So hopefully this helped you out. If it did, go ahead and leave a like, leave a comment. Likes always help out the channel, so please go ahead and hit that like button. But y'all take care and stay safe.